I didn't say don't sit up here and try to lie, but that was the tone of my voice. The tone of my voice was don't sit up here and try to lie. He was like, well, can we just get started on the remote session? I was like, yes, please. What is up, you guys? It's Bree of TheseAreTheSounds.com, and this is going to be a story time about how I am in an abusive relationship with Avid. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, then you know that the DAW that I use is ProTools, and ProTools is owned by a company called Avid. I've been using ProTools since 2007 when I first started making beats. I think my dad got it for me for my birthday in 2007, and I didn't actually open it and start using it until 2009. So I've been using it since 2009, but I've had it since 2007. I used Pro Tools M-Powered 7.8 from 2009 to 2018. My computer at that time was also from 2009. Pro Tools and my computer at that time completely stopped working. This was in 2018, and I had to update to the computer that I have now, which is a MacBook Pro. I had to update my interface, and I also had to update Pro Tools because Pro Tools M-Powered 7.8 was not compatible with my new MacBook Pro. Now, I do not like having subscriptions, so I paid for a perpetual license from Pro Tools, and it was called Pro Tools 2018, and this perpetual license cost me $600. I was fine with paying it because, again, I did not want to have a subscription. So 2018 goes by, 2019 goes by, 2020 goes by, and half of 2021 goes by, and everything is fine and dandy. Then suddenly in July of 2021, my computer just started acting up. Some of my programs that I used regularly, they just didn't want to work anymore, and I figured it was because I had not updated my computer since I got it in 2018. And the reason that I had not updated it since 2018 is because I was super fearful that Pro Tools and my plugins would no longer be compatible with it if I updated. Unfortunately, the reverse was happening, and my other programs were not being compatible with the old operating system. So I decided to update to Big Sur, which was the current operating system at that time in 2021, and it had already been out since like September or November from the previous year. So I figured Pro Tools by now, you know, their engineers, their developers have probably made Pro Tools 2018 compatible with Big Sur because it's been out for a little while now. That's my bad. That's my fault for not checking because it was not compatible. So I go to open Pro Tools and it's not working. So it turned out that Avid, their developers, never made Pro Tools 2018. They never upgraded it to go with Mac's operating systems. So it was not compatible with Big Sur because they never updated it. So I went to go look and see, okay, what's a perpetual license that I could buy now? Because I was willing to pay another $600 or even more than that if I could get a perpetual license, because again, I don't like having subscriptions. Avid doesn't offer perpetual licenses anymore. They only offer subscriptions. And I understand that, like, as a company, you have to evolve with the times, and subscription-based companies are kind of like the standard now. I get that. But at the same time, why would you offer a perpetual license that was only gonna last for 3 years? At that point, to me, it feels like you're robbing your customers. I felt like I got played. I felt like I got robbed. Let me know if I'm being unreasonable or if I'm being reasonable. I feel like I'm being reasonable though, because literally it was only 3 years ago that I bought the perpetual license. I could understand if I bought it in like 2015, but 2018 and 2021, you never updated it to be compatible with the Mac operating system that has been there since 2020. So it was really only 2 years. I feel like I got played, but it's like, what am I supposed to do, you know? So I was upset about it, but I just paid the subscription and moved on with my life. I think it was like a couple months later or a few months later, Pro Tools or Avid had sent out a survey to Pro Tools users and was asking like, how satisfied are you with our product and blah, blah, blah. And I left this like big old paragraph about how I felt like I got played because of what I just told you guys. And Avid never responded, and I figured they probably never read it. I don't know that for sure, but I just feel like they probably never read it. So that happens. I spend the rest of 2021 paying for my subscription and using Pro Tools, and everything's fine. Then Wednesday, January 12th happens, and it's around 3 p.m. I was working in Pro Tools. I had opened several sessions already, starting to move things around and work in some of those sessions, and I go to switch to a different session than the one that I was working in, and Pro Tools randomly crashes. So again, Pro Tools was working, Literally nothing changed. It suddenly just crashed. So immediately I think to myself, okay, Pro Tools is just crashing. I just need to restart my computer, because this happens a lot with Pro Tools. It does. I restart my computer, it's still not working. I do a hard reset, it's still not working. I completely shut it down and I leave it off for like, I don't know, maybe half an hour or something like that. Turn it back on and Pro Tools is still crashing. So when Pro Tools crashes, it sends a crash log, but of course, you know, I'm not a developer, so I don't know how to read the thing. I figure, you know, probably people from Avid can, or maybe I can look up parts of it online and try to find my solution. So I begin troubleshooting, and I'm troubleshooting for 5-6 hours or something like that, and nothing is working. I go through every freaking YouTube video, every forum, anything I can find online, communities on Reddit, and it's just nothing is working. When I go to Avid's website to try to find customer care, the only way that you can actually get a phone call with them is you have to pay $39.95 for an Avid support credit to get a phone call with them. Okay, that's part of their policy. So I go back to the survey and I see the email that they sent it from, and I send an email to that email address and I just go off. And the reason why I'm laughing is because I'm totally not like that. Like I never leave a bad review. I never like complain to companies and stuff like that. Like I'm just not that person. I generally will just let it go, chalk it up as a loss, maybe grumble to whoever's, you know, around me and complain to them, but I'll move on, you know? So I'm just not that person, but I sent this really long email because I was so upset and frustrated, because I felt like I had gotten played, and then I felt like I have to sit here and pay for a phone call now after you already played me from having my perpetual license to now having to use a subscription. Like I just was so upset, so I went off. And Avid never replied to that email. Like they still haven't replied to that email, so they probably didn't see it. And I'm kind of hoping they didn't, but at the same time, I'm kind of hoping they did, but maybe they'll see this video or something instead. Anyway, after I send that email, I end up going to Avid's online portal, which I didn't realize that I could do immediately, but I end up going to Avid's online portal. It's still the same Wednesday night that my program started crashing. I go to the portal, I leave them what's been going on, exactly how it happened, and I leave them part of the crash report log, hoping that maybe they can look at that and figure out what's wrong. So within the hour, someone by the name of Gerard responds. He says, "Thank you for contacting Avid Global Customer Care. Please send us a screenshot of your computer specs as well as Pro Tools version. When did this issue start happening? Did anything change from your computer or Pro Tools? What audio face are you using? Do you have the latest drivers for them? Regards, Gerard." And so within the hour, this same Wednesday night, I respond with the screenshots that he asked for, and I said, "Attached are the screenshots of the computer specs and the Pro Tools version. The issue just started happening this afternoon around 3:15 PST. I opened Pro Tools and opened a session and it worked perfectly. I was probably in that session for about 10 minutes. I then went to switch to a new session and Pro Tools crashed when just as the new session finished loading. It's been crashing every time I try to open any session ever since, as explained in my previous message. Nothing changed from my computer or Pro Tools as it was literally working and then just stopped. For my interface, I use the Scarlett Focusrite 4i4, and yes, I have the current drivers because I made sure that I had all the current drivers." So again, that was on Wednesday, January 12th. It was almost midnight by the time I sent that message. A day goes by and I don't hear from them. Another day goes by and I don't hear from them. 5 days go by and I don't hear anything from them. And in the meantime, I am trying to get online, look through every YouTube video again, look through every freaking forum I can find, everything I'm looking through and trying it, and nothing is working. I told my brother my situation and he was like, "Why don't you try updating to the newest version of Big Sur?" And I was like, I thought about doing that, but I just felt kind of scared because I didn't want to make it worse. But at this point it was like, how do you possibly make it worse? But I did update to Big Sur and it did make it worse. I updated to the newest version of Big Sur and Pro Tools started quitting even sooner. Like it wouldn't even open, it would just quit. So I'm troubleshooting, and again, between the 12th and the 17th, it's been 5 days. So I end up following up with Gerard from Avid, and I message him, "Hi, it's been 5 days, so I'm following up on this. Please connect me with someone who can help me as soon as possible, as I need Pro Tools before work. I ended up updating to 2012.12 to see if that would work, and now Pro Tools won't even launch at all. It immediately crashes when trying to open. I am attaching screenshots of my specs and Pro Tools version again. I actually forgot that I also did this. I also updated Pro Tools because I was on 2012. I don't remember whatever I bought the subscription on, and when I went and checked in my subscriptions, I was able to update to Pro Tools 2012.12, which is the newest version of Pro Tools. So I went ahead and did that, and Pro Tools was just quitting. It wouldn't even load. So I messaged that on the 17th. Later on that night, about 6 hours later, Gerard replies and he says, "Thank you for providing the information being asked. First thing I notice is that you only have 8 gigabytes of memory. Pro Tools requires at least 16 gigabytes in order to run without issues. Secondly, try updating your Mac OS Big Sur version from 11.4 to 11.6. Then try the steps below as well." And he left me some articles and was like, also, if you have third-party plugins, make sure that their licenses are activated. And at this point, you guys, I am so annoyed and so upset that it's been 5 freaking days, and all he responds with are like the most generic things that somebody can say. And one of those things wasn't even true. So I responded and I was like, "Hi, Gerard. I have 40 plus gigabytes of storage space. A screenshot is attached. I don't know if this is useful information, but Pro Tools has literally worked fine on my computer since 2018 when I purchased this computer. It's just since last Wednesday that it randomly started quitting every time I try to open a session. Then I updated from 21.6 to 21.12, and now it's quitting before it even launches. I updated to Big Sur 11.6, a screenshot is attached. I tried getting rid of preferences, and I even tried deleting the app from my computer and installing it again. I also went and made sure all my third-party plugins were up to date and compatible with my operating system. Pro Tools is still not launching. Please help me solve this." And I had messaged that about a day later. So the day I messaged that, it was January 19th. We are now a week out from when my Pro Tools first started crashing. And I feel like the more time that passed by that I couldn't open my Pro Tools, like my sanity was just like getting less and less. So another day passes and I don't hear back from Gerard. Another day passes and I still haven't heard back from him, and I am getting to like my wit's end. Like, I'm getting so upset and so frustrated, and I'm trying to play it cool. I'm trying to hold it in, you know, trying to just go on living my life and being normal and stuff. But I am upset because there were so many things that I had planned, that I wanted to work on, that I wanted to do, and I pretty much just couldn't because I didn't have my Pro Tools. And Kasari even offered for me to use her computer, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's a brilliant idea. And then I realized she doesn't even have any of my plugins, so I couldn't use what I normally use. It was extremely frustrating. I felt like super helpless because Avid was not helping me at all. So Thursday, January 20th, I ended up caving and I just went ahead and paid for that Avid support credit so that I could call them. And so I called them, and the automated machine put me on hold for a little while, and then it was like, all of our operators are busy right now, so if you want to have us call you back, you can reserve your spot in line, you won't lose your spot in line, blah blah blah. So I was like, cool, I'll go ahead and pick that option and I'll wait for them to call me back. Thursday passed and they never called me back. It's Friday, January 21st, and I'm fuming and I'm thinking, like, what can I do, right? I need to be able to find somebody from Avid, because at this point it's like, I paid for the call, I haven't gotten a call back, I'm messaging them, they're taking days to respond, and they're not helping me. Like, I need to figure something out. So I remembered again that same email with the survey. When they sent out that email with the survey, there was somebody's name at the end of that email. So I went back and found the email and found that lady's name, and her name was Mariana. So I got on LinkedIn and I looked her up, and she was actually like very active on LinkedIn. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna email her because she's with Avid's customer service. I think she's like their customer service president. So I was like, I'm just gonna reach out to her and hopefully she'll respond. So on Friday, January 21st at 2:53 p.m., I reached out to her and I said, hi, Mariana, I'm sorry to bother you this way, but I found you on LinkedIn and I can't seem to find any other contact point for Avid that will actually respond to me in a timely manner, if at all. My Pro Tools has been crashing since last Wednesday, which, as you can imagine, is extremely frustrating and devastating to my work and business. I used Avid's online portal for technical support, and it's taken days at a time and follow-up messages from me to hear back from them, and their suggestions have not solved my issue. I also purchased an ASC to call Avid for technical support, and the automated machine gave me the option to save my place in the queue and receive a call back, and I haven't received a call. Of course, while waiting for Avid, I've been trying every solution the internet has to offer to no avail. Is there any other person you can get me in contact with that can help me? Even if there's someone who you personally know who troubleshoots Pro Tools on Mac outside of Avid, please let me know. It's extremely disappointing to have been a customer for 14 years and not be able to get the help I need from Avid for over a week now. Again, I'm laughing because I'm just not this person. I never reach out to companies. I never complain about stuff like this, but I needed my Pro Tools to work because at this point, they're messing with my money. They're messing with my money. They're messing with my plans, and I needed my Pro Tools to work. So that was Friday the 21st. That same night, I put out a story on Instagram basically displaying how I was at my wit's end, and I was like, does anybody know how to troubleshoot Pro Tools on a Mac? So Saturday morning, when I checked my phone, somebody had replied to that story and basically was asking me for more specific information on it. And his username is Mixed by Jalen. Jalen literally went back and forth with me in messages, helping me troubleshoot my Pro Tools, and gave me more help in like 4 or 5 hours than Avid had given me in almost 2 weeks. I knew right away that Jalen was going to be able to help me because he was actually giving me solutions that weren't already online. Jalen was like, try this, try that, try this, okay, move this back, okay, open this folder, and then you're gonna open that. And he was giving me, like, breaking it down and giving me, again, solutions that were not already online and that weren't like some BS surface level solutions that Gerard from Avid was trying to give me. With Jalen's help, I was actually able to get Pro Tools to start opening again. And then after like a couple more hours, we started being able to open sessions again, but we weren't able to open every session. And then I wasn't able to switch to another session. So like it wasn't completely solved, but we were getting somewhere. And I was so grateful to Jalen because literally it was like 4 or 5 hours of a Saturday that he spent messaging me back and forth. I was sending him videos of my screen and he was helping me. Jalen, if you're watching this, thank you so much. You were a godsend. So the next day is Sunday, January 23rd, and I get a message on LinkedIn, and it's Mariana. She messaged me at 9:36 a.m. and she said, "Hello, Brenda," because that's my government. "Happy to assist you here. I just saw the case you started and Gerard has responded too. I tagged him and also his boss." She put booze, but I think she meant to put boss. "I tagged him and also his boss and asked that they get on this first thing tomorrow and keep me in the loop so I know you get help. I asked that they call you and added myself to the case. I will follow up first thing in the morning. Mariana." And I was so thankful for the first bit of good news because, again, you guys, I was so close to losing it. So I responded and I was like, "Thank you so much for responding, Mariana. I appreciate you." And she was like, "It's my pleasure, just sorry it has happened." So remember, I had last messaged Gerard on the previous Wednesday, which was January 19th. I messaged Mariana on Friday, which was January 21st, and she replied on Sunday, which was January 23rd. So it had been 4 days since I had messaged Gerard and he hadn't replied. So Mariana must have lit a fire under that whole department because suddenly Gerard replies that same Sunday that Mariana replied to me, and this was his message. "It seems that your hard drive might also be a little full, which may cause sluggish performance of your computer. Please provide us your best callback number, date and time, including time zone for a remote session." So I responded a couple hours later and I said 9 a.m. PST Monday morning, January 24th would be great. If your operating hours don't include that time, your earliest convenience after 9 a.m. PST on Monday. The sooner the better, as I have been waiting. And I left my phone number and I was like, thanks. So he responds within the hour and he's like, "Hi Brenda, I will coordinate your case to our American team so that we can have someone get back to you tomorrow morning." So this was Sunday night and I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna ask to work remote on Monday because if I go to my job and they end up calling me at 9 a.m. or anytime while I'm at work, I'm not gonna be able to troubleshoot my computer right then and there. I need to be at my computer and have, all of my stuff hooked up in order to run Pro Tools. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna email my boss, I'm gonna ask to work remote so that way I can troubleshoot whenever it is that they call me and then I can go back to working when it's time to work. And my boss is like, cool. So that Monday comes, I get up pretty early, I start working already, and then I end up getting a message from that same thread with Gerard, okay? And this time it's from someone different, and this is Monday morning, probably around 10 a.m. And it says, "Thank you for contacting Avid customer care. If this error is experienced during the plugins loading, then this most likely is due to corrupt or duplicate plugins. Move all the plugins from their folder to the plugins unused folder. Both of these folders are located here," and he put the location, and he's like, "Without them, Pro Tools will load. Then choose to move them back in and opt to replace any duplicates. I have also recently seen various cases involving a crash when loading Waves plugins. This is due to Waves plugins or Wave Central not being updated. If you're working with Waves plugins, then choose to open Wave Central and check for updates. Let me know if this helps. Feel free to reply and we'll contact you as soon as possible. Kind regards, Adrian. And you guys, I'm about to lose it because first of all, I was expecting a phone call so that way I can explain the entire situation to them. We can do a whole remote session and bada bing, bada boom, be on our merry way. I know Mariana told you to call me, not to message me here. So why are we not calling me? Because I'm sitting here waiting for a phone call. I literally stayed home from work because I'm waiting for a phone call, right? And I was like, okay, I would be able to explain everything that Jalen was able to help me with, all that stuff over the phone way more easily than sitting here typing back and forth, especially because you guys don't ever respond. So I'm upset and I get to typing. Imagine the Kermit gif where he's like, that's me. And I say, hi, Adrian. I tried that already and it didn't work. And I'm like so annoyed because I'm just thinking, they really think that I'm just like sitting, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic. They really think that I'm just like sitting here twiddling my thumbs, waiting for them to respond. Like, what? You guys, like, this is my livelihood. I understand that you don't really care because it's not your program and this isn't holding up your life, but it's holding up mine. Like, what do you think? I didn't get online and see that, since as that literally is like the first suggestion on every freaking forum and video. So anyway, my message says, I tried that already and it didn't work, and I don't use Waves plugins at all. In case it's helpful, I'll also update you. Since I was waiting for a response or phone call back from Avid for so long, I tried every solution I could find on the internet, and I even found a random person on Instagram to help me troubleshoot. Thank you, Jalen. I was expecting to explain all this over the phone, as that probably would have been easier, but seeing as I haven't received a phone call back from Avid when I paid for one, I guess I'll explain it here. The person on Instagram was able to help me get Pro Tools to actually begin opening again. They had me move the Pro Tools folder from my documents to my desktop, which created a new Pro Tools folder in my documents. Now, my Pro Tools can open certain sessions, but it can't open others without quitting. It also can't create a new session without quitting, and I can't switch from one session to another without Pro Tools quitting. The person on Instagram had me try holding N while opening Pro Tools and changing the playback engine to the highest sample setting, as well as turning on dynamic plugin processing. But that didn't solve the new issue of certain sessions not being able to open still, and it also didn't solve not being able to create new sessions. I don't think it's the plugins because, again, I tried moving the plugins from the plugins folder to the unused folder and that didn't work. I also tried holding down shift to open the sessions that aren't working and they still won't open. Also, the same plugins are in the sessions that will open and the sessions that won't open. I also made sure all my third-party plugins were updated. And sorry to give you guys all the details, but I need you guys to know, like, we tried it all. We tried it all. So I had actually CC'd Mariana in that message prior to sending it. So she saw it, and right away, like literally within like 10 minutes, she replies and she's like, I am so very sorry, and will reach out to the big boss and inform her that several on this case didn't go the extra mile to assist you and should have. Stand by as I get informed on your case when they open it. I'm on it. So I thanked her and everything, and then she ended up saying that she actually hit up somebody else and was like, they might be contacting you as well, please stand by. And so I was like, thank you, I'll be standing by. And this was around noon on that same Monday that I had stayed home from work waiting for the phone call. So around 2 in the afternoon, I still had not received a phone call, and I'm just like, what the heck is going on? So I end up messaging her, and I'm like, hi Mariana, I'm sorry to bother you, as I know none of this is your fault, but I just want to know if I will be able to get this resolved before the end of the day. I stayed home from my regular job today to make time for this call that I thought I would have received at least by now, and I feel like I can't go anywhere or do anything because I need to be at my computer in case the call comes in. Would it be possible for me to get an estimate of when that will be? And I don't think that Mariana is in the States, so I kind of was like lenient because, I mean, if her time difference, if it's 4 in the morning, obviously she's not going to be responding. So at this point, again, it is Monday, January 23rd, and my program has not been working since Wednesday, January 12th. I know I've said I'm at my wit's end like 20 times, but I really was. Like, I would be at my wit's end and I'd be like, you know what, it's okay. And then I'd be at my wit's end again. And I was done, you guys. I was so mad. I was like, nobody's responding to me. Nobody at Avid freaking cares. I'm here shelling out money to them. I've been promoting their product on my social media and stuff like that. Not like I have the hugest following or anything like that, but at the same time, still, there are people who have purchased Pro Tools because I use it. And so I just feel like I'm in an abusive relationship with them. I'm like, am I really gonna have to go and start using another DAW? I don't wanna have to go through a learning curve to learn some other DAW when I've been using Pro Tools for so long, and I shouldn't have to. This shouldn't be this difficult to get my problem solved. Like, it really shouldn't. But I ended up, you know, talk to my mom a little bit, and then I was like, you know what, Lord, if there's something else that you want me to focus on, you let me know, and I'm just gonna let it go, and whenever they respond is when they respond, because I don't really know what else to do. But I'm not gonna be being upset over this when I can't control the situation. So that night I was just like, okay, whatever, I'll find something else to work on. And then the next day I just went to work and kind of wasn't really thinking about it. While I was at work that day, I received a phone call from an 800 number, and I was like, oh my gosh, what if it's them? So I picked it up while I was at work, and it wasn't. It was Guitar Center trying to sell me stuff. So I was like, whatever, it's not them. So I ended up coming home and I took a nap, and then my phone started ringing and it woke me up from my nap, and I'm like looking at the number. But since I was like waking up from a nap, I was like kind of like a little bit still confused, and so I didn't pick up the phone. I just let it ring. I ended up looking up the number to see if it was them, and it was. So I hopped on the same tech support thread. I was like starting to type my message to say, if that was you guys, can you guys call me again? And I was receiving another call at that moment from them. So I pick up the phone, and it's Adrian from the tech support thread, and he's like, this is Adrian from Avid customer care. I've called you several times today and it's gone straight to voicemail. And I was like, I received one missed call from you like 10 minutes ago. And he was like, well, I have in my log that we've tried to call you several times today. And I was like, that's not true, because I literally just missed a call from you like 10 minutes ago, and that's it. I didn't say don't sit up here and try to lie, but that was the tone of my voice. The tone of my voice was don't sit up here and try to lie. He was like, well, can we just get started on the remote session? I was like, yes, please. You guys, I was livid. I was so upset. But seriously, why are you trying to lie? Like, for what? I literally can see on my phone whether or not you didn't call me. So we ended up doing the remote session, and it probably, I think we're on there for like 2 hours. He was trying a bunch of different solutions, and at the end, he was able to get my Pro Tools working again. And I don't know what we did. We got rid of a bunch of stuff and, you know, tried to reinstall Pro Tools several times, and we did all kinds of stuff. He ended up being able to solve it, but even at the end, he was kind of confused on how he solved it, because he was like, I'm not even sure what the issue was. But I was like, I don't even care at this point. I'm just glad that I can freaking use Pro Tools again. And unfortunately, it did get rid of my presets, so I had to redo a lot of those things, and like I had to like, you know, go back and customize my original settings and stuff like that. But I mean, that was the least of my concerns. At least I was able to use Pro Tools again. So that was on Tuesday, January 25th. Again, my Pro Tools crashed on Wednesday, January 12th. So it took 13 days for Avid to finally be able to solve my problem. So the next day, I'm guessing it's like part of their protocol or whatever, but Adrian replied to that same tech support thread, and he was like, hello Brenda, thank you for contacting Avid customer care. During our call, I helped you out with configuring your Pro Tools setup to not crash when loading up a session. Please let me know if this error has been fixed. If the error is still persisting after yesterday's remote session fix, I can continue assisting you with fixing your Pro Tools setup. Feel free to reply and we'll contact you as soon as possible. Kind regards, Adrian. So I was gonna let it go, you guys, that he was trying to lie, but I think Pro Tools has like an automated message that goes out a certain amount of time after there's been like no activity in this log. They sent out their message on January 31st, and I was reminded that Adrian tried to lie. So I ended up replying, and I CC'd Mariana, and I said, my problem was resolved, but I would like to clarify that I did not receive multiple calls from Adrian prior to his message saying I did. So you know how he called me and I missed it, and then like 10 minutes passed and I was gonna message in the thread saying, please call me again if that was you. During that time, he had actually left a message in the log saying that he tried calling my number multiple times and that it was going straight to voicemail, right? And he's like, please verify with me that this number is correct. So again, because he had resolved my issue, I was gonna let it go. But when Pro Tools sent out that automated message, it reminded me, and so I ended up replying. And again, this was on January 31st. And I said, my problem was resolved, but I would like to clarify that I did not receive multiple calls from Adrian prior to his message saying I did. I missed one call from him 5 minutes before he called again and I answered. Okay, so it wasn't even 10 minutes, it was 5 minutes. I said, I'm certain of this because I even received a call from an 800 number earlier that day and answered thinking it could possibly be someone from Avid, but it was just a telemarketer. I appreciate the issue being resolved, but I do not appreciate the dishonesty, especially after having to find somebody from Avid on LinkedIn, in parentheses, thank you, Mariana, to actually get the ball rolling on this case, staying home from work on Monday, January 21st, 2022, because I was told I would receive a call that day, only to not receive a call until after 3 p.m. PST the following day, and being lied to about how many times I was called as if I hadn't been waiting by the phone to receive a call from Avid since Thursday, January 20th, 2022, when I paid for it and joined the queue. I think that tears were welling up in my eyes as I was typing this because I was so mad. I wasn't going to say anything about it because, again, I appreciate the issue being resolved, but the dishonesty isn't necessary. That's what I sent, and I stand by that. So since I had CC'd Mariana, she actually ended up replying to my message, and she was like, "Hi Brenda, I am so very sorry that this occurred. I had envisioned that once I intervened and said call you that this would happen. I am not happy that it didn't and will work with the lead of the group to educate and coach on this to the whole team. Again, my apologies, Brenda. I am going to ask that the web team refund the Avid service code you paid for, as you didn't get the value out of it you expected. For that, I am also sorry this whole situation transpired. You now have my email, here it is again, and next time you need help, please email me and I will get you to the right place so your experience is much better." So she sent a refund of my $39.95 for the call, and I thanked her, and that was basically the end of the saga for now. If I am able to get an invite to the NAMM show this year, which is actually in June this year, normally it's in January, but it's going to be in June this year. If I'm able to get an invite, I will be visiting the Avid booth to figure out what is going on with their customer service because it's ridiculous. I also forgot to mention during my story that I had actually hit them up on Twitter and on Instagram, and the Twitter didn't respond until way after the fact. Like, everything was already solved and they were like, please contact Adrian. Like, I've already talked to Adrian and he tried to lie on me. And the Instagram never responded. It's just unfortunate because I love the software. When I first started using Pro Tools, it was considered industry standard, and it still kind of is, but it's kind of not, because when I do visit other studios, almost always the computers that they have Pro Tools installed for mixing and recording, but usually the producers that work in those studios will use other programs for producing. But from my own personal experience and from what I've heard from others and seen from others, as far as when it comes to recording and mixing, the cleanness and the capabilities of Pro Tools are unmatched when it just comes to editing. Even bouncing out a mix from Pro Tools sounds exactly the same when it's bounced out as it did when you were listening to it, whereas other programs, when I work with other producers, when they bounce out their mixes, their program adds a little razzle dazzle to the mix. And a lot of times they don't even know it, and they'll send me a mix and I'm like, bro, this sounds like mad compressed. And they'll be like, oh my bad, it's the program. I didn't even add anything to it, blah, blah, blah. Like, the program does that. Pro Tools doesn't do that. Pro Tools really gives you like an accurate, clean mix. On top of that, Pro Tools is all I know because it's all that I've ever used. I've worked with producers, like worked alongside them, like in the same room, who have used like Ableton and Fruity Loops, but I don't want to switch. Like, just being honest, I don't want to switch. I want to continue using Pro Tools, but I want for their customer service to be up to par, and right now it's not. And kind of get a little bit more modern when it comes to their branding. Like, I feel like they'd be the perfect company. So I'm hoping to pull up to their booth, or I'm hoping that maybe they see this video and we can talk, because we need to have a little talk. Anyway, I don't want to drag this story out even longer than I already did. So I hope that you were able to understand my pain and feel my pain. I had to let that out. And this will probably be my last story time for a little while. I'll get back into like the more educational type videos, or like the better videos. But that delay really did set me back for the plans that I had for releasing beats on These Are the Sounds and doing collaborations with other artists and stuff like that. And it just kind of sucks, but at the same time, you know, my mom told me the Lord will make up for lost time, and I believe that. So that happened a couple months ago. I'm just now starting to catch up, it feels like, but I do have other things that I'm working on and stuff like that as well. So I will be hopefully making more videos soon about more of those other things that I'm working on, and just trying to branch more into other things. That's what I'll say. I don't want to say anything because, you know what it's like, don't talk about it, be about it. Let me just go ahead and be about it and not keep talking about it. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you made it this far into the video, I think it's safe to say that you kind of liked it, so please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and give me a little algorithm boost on YouTube. If you are not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and click subscribe, and please also go ahead and click that notification bell so you can be notified every time I post a video. And what did you think of this story? Was it crazy? Did you feel my pain? Am I being ridiculous and dramatic? Let me know in the comments below. Again, I am Brie K of TheseAreTheSounds.com. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.